All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to explore a hidden world that's inside every single one of us. It's this bustling ecosystem that has a surprisingly powerful link to our moods, our thoughts, and yeah, even our brain health. It's a connection that science is just now starting to wrap its head around, and honestly, it's fascinating.
So let's just start with a number that is, well, it's kind of hard to even imagine. 100 trillion. That's the estimated number of tiny microbes living in and on your body right now. To put that in perspective, they actually outnumber your own human cells. So in a very real way, we're more them than we are us. Wild, right?
And that staggering fact leads us to the big mystery we're unpacking today. How in the world can this universe of bacteria, mostly hanging out in our gut, possibly have any influence over our brain? The most complex and protected organ in our entire body. It's a question that's pretty much challenging everything we thought we knew about the brain. And look, this isn't some fringe idea. The scientific community is going through a massive paradigm shift. A total change in thinking. This link between our gut and our brain is completely revolutionizing how we understand everything from our moods to serious neurodegenerative diseases. So, to really understand this shift, first we need to get to know this powerful, hidden force a little bit better. Let's start by meeting what some scientists are now calling our second brain. Okay, so the official sciencey term is microbiota. It's this huge community of microbes, mostly bacteria that have basically set up shop all over our bodies. But the main headquarters, the real bustling metropolis, is right there in our gastrointestinal tract. A healthy gut isn't just a random jumble of microbes. It's a carefully balanced ecosystem. It's mostly dominated by two main groups, bacteroidetes and firmicutes. And the ratio between these guys is actually a really key indicator of your overall gut health.
And here's the thing. This inner world of yours, it's not static. It's constantly changing. From the moment you're born, everything, your diet, your environment, your genetics, your stress levels, all of it is shaping the unique composition of this delicate ecosystem.
All right, so we've met the microbiota. But the next big question is, how do these two incredibly distant organs, the gut and the brain, actually talk to each other? Well, it turns out they use a kind of biological superhighway.
Scientists call this incredible network the microbiota gut-brain axis. Now, the most important word here, the one you've got to remember, is bidirectional. This is not a one-way street. The gut talks to the brain, for sure, but just as important, the brain talks right back to the gut.
So check this out. This diagram shows us exactly how that conversation happens. It's like a multi-lane highway. You've got a direct neural pathway called the vagus nerve, which acts like a high-speed fiber optic cable. Then you've got immune pathways, where immune cells carry messages back and forth. And finally, there are systemic pathways that use the bloodstream to send hormonal signals, like the stress hormone cortisol. It's this constant, complex chatter happening all the time. And have you ever had a gut feeling? Well, turns out it's not just a metaphor. Your gut is actually lined with its very own nervous system, the enteric nervous system, or ENS. And get this, it has over 100 million neurons. It's so complex, it's often called our second brain, and it's a major player on this superhighway. So if this communication system is so absolutely vital, what happens when it breaks down? Let's take a look at what happens when that connection gets fuzzy, when things in the gut go wrong. Well, the problem has a name. It's called dysbiosis. You can basically think of it as your inner ecosystem getting thrown out of whack. It's like having a ton of static on the line of that gut-brain highway, and it really messes up the clear signals your body needs to stay healthy. And this is where the implications become incredibly real. Dysbiosis isn't just about an upset stomach. Research is now showing these really strong links between an imbalanced gut and a whole range of major brain disorders. Everything from anxiety and depression to neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Okay, so that raises a huge question, right? How? How can bacteria in our gut have such a profound, deep impact on our brain? Well, the answer lies in this really fascinating concept that shows us just how adaptable our brains truly are. And that concept is neuroplasticity. It sounds complicated, but it's a simple, powerful idea. Our brains are not fixed, rigid organs. They're more like clay. They are constantly being molded and reorganized by our experiences and our environment, and that includes our inner environment. Our brain is malleable.
The evidence for this is just stunning. I mean, look at this. Studies on mice that are raised in a completely sterile, germ-free environment show that without a normal microbiota, their brains just develop differently. We see changes in brain structure, lower levels of crucial growth factors like BDNF, which is kind of like fertilizer for brain cells, and even major changes in their behavior. It's proof that our microbiota is essential for normal brain development.
Now, I know all this might sound a little daunting, but the science also points to an incredibly empowering conclusion. Because if our gut environment can be changed, well, that means we have a really powerful toolkit at our disposal.
And this brings us right back to our daily choices, which is where this science becomes super practical. I mean, this comparison says it all. A typical high-fat, low-fiber Western diet can actually fuel that imbalance, that dysbiosis. But a diet rich in fiber from things like fruits and vegetables, like the Mediterranean diet, supports a diverse, healthy microbiota, and it's linked to a lower risk of cognitive decline and depression.
This discovery has kicked off an exciting new field focused on something called psychobiotics. It's basically a catch-all term for any substance, from probiotics and prebiotics to specific foods that we can use to target our gut microbes for a psychological benefit. This image gives you a great idea of the different tools in that psychobiotic toolkit. We can add beneficial bacteria with probiotics, or we can feed the good bacteria we already have with prebiotics. In some clinical settings, scientists are even exploring microbiotic transplants. These are all ways we can consciously partner with our inner world to feel better.
So here's a quick breakdown of how these therapies can work. Probiotics have been shown to improve scores on anxiety and depression scales. Prebiotics can help reduce the stress hormone cortisol, and something like FMT has even shown promise for improving behavioral symptoms in conditions like autism spectrum disorder. Ultimately, it all comes back to this. Targeted nutrition, what some people are calling smart food, is really emerging as a powerful, science-driven way to take advantage of this gut-brain axis. It's all about making conscious choices to support not just our physical health, but our mental well-being too. So, as we wrap things up, we're left with this one big, provocative thought. For so long, we thought of the gut as just this simple, digestive machine. But the science is making it crystal clear. It's so much more complex than that. It truly is a second brain. So the question is, are we ready to start feeding it like one? Thanks for joining us.